order. Chairperson Mayor Zach Curley. Fran, want to introduce yourself?
Fran Aaron, Commission Member.
Tim Burkhauser, Commission Member.
Todd Berkey, City Alderman.
Shane Burkhart, Commission Member.
Lee Tall, Commission Member.
Joe Terry, Director of Public Works.
Adam Tagan, Planning and Economic Development Director.
Ron Rasmussen, Principal Lincoln.
I'm around 4th District Alderman, just sitting in.
Thank you all for being here. Okay, we'll move into item number 1, which is the approval of the reports from the August 1st and September 19th, 2016 Planning Commission meetings. Commissioners, what are your wishes regarding those items?
Make a motion to approve and place on file.
A motion by Ferkey, second by Aaron. Any discussion on the reports? Hearing none, I'll move into a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 2, maps and plats received. Item A is a pre-preliminary Bruche subdivision. The applicant is requesting extraterritorial approval of a 47-lot residential subdivision. The subject property is located at the southeast corner of Griffith Avenue and 48th Street South in the town of Grand Rapids, parcel 0700988. It's also attached in our packets. Adam, turn it over to you.
Just briefly, some of you are newer to the commission, so by state law, anything within a mile and a half, I believe it is, of the city boundaries of a municipality that has an adopted subdivision code, any CSMs or subdivisions do fall under our extraterritorial jurisdiction. Basically what that means is we have the ability to comment and request changes based upon our adopted subdivision code if there are major concerns. Generally speaking, it's because of the potential that the city would grow out that direction and annex that property in the future and to avoid conflicts that would be created at that time. So the county does send these to our attention and ask for our review and comments. So as the Plan Commission, it's your job on behalf of the city to take a look and then, like I said, make any comments or suggestions on it. This particular subdivision, we did send out for comments to all city staff. Basically, there were 2, I guess, comments that they would like made back to the county and the township regarding the subdivision. The first is Bentley Court. It was suggested to look at the alternative of potentially removing that cul-de-sac and extending Bentley Court out to 48th Street South to provide an additional access point, and then that would line up with another potential access point on the east side of 48th Street South. And then Michaela Court on the west side of the subdivision. That is slightly over our recommended cul-de-sac length within our subdivision code. Our code usually pushes for nothing over 500 feet. This is more in the 6 to 650 range, so it's slightly longer. Probably not a huge safety concern based on the number of houses versus what would be in a city subdivision. But the other suggestion would be to maybe look at an alternative layout to either shorten that cul-de-sac or eliminate it by connecting it through or looping it back over to Grady Circle. So I guess basically staff would recommend approving this with those 2 suggestions passed along.
Question on Bentley Court, that's the only one you're talking about extending out?
Bentley Court and then Michaela Court.
Right.
Both of them
Okay, I didn't hear the other one.
There's nothing in the subdivision code on Bentley Court. That's more of a suggestion based on layout and future growth patterns. Michaela, there is a potential conflict with our subdivision code.
Other questions, commissioners, or comments?
So I realize town of Grand Rapids right now, there's no water or sewer out there, but we do have city wells beyond that point. Will these properties have their own wells, or will they be hooked up to city water?
This would be on septic and well. They would need to annex into the city to be on city water
Okay,
by ordinance, and we are nowhere near
right.
what the current municipal.
The lot sizes are adequate too for septic and a replacement system?
That would be part of the county's review. Usually the county health department and the county planning department will review lot size and soil types to ensure that. But the lot size far exceeds any requirement of our codes.
Other comments or questions?
We can you'll make these suggestions, but they don't have to abide by our suggestions, right? It's just something we're
Yeah, for these, they would be suggestions. If it was something that was blatantly concern to the city, then we have more authority. But in this case, like I said, they're more suggestions than.
So with Michaela Court, you want that to go right out to Griffith?
No, it would be looking down to the south. So either you would potentially loop it over to Grady Circle
Okay,
to remove the cul-de-sac, or you could basically stub it down to where it says CSM 9763.
okay.
Basically to the south, and then that would be a potential connection if that were to be further subdivided.
Okay, okay.
Or you can adjust Rouge Drive. I mean, there's all sorts of alternatives on how to shorten that up.
The distance where Rouge Drive comes out onto 48th Street and Griffith Avenue's intersection there, that, you know, in the city, that wouldn't be tolerated because you'd have intersections so close to one another, correct? Or would you just consider the Rouge Drive a private drive rather than a road, or?
It would be a public road. It would be dedicated through the subdivision process. I want to say the intersection points are, Joe, do you know off the top of your head what our subdivision code requires? Is it 150?
And they're what, 290, 270 right now?
I don't off the top of my head.
I can double check that though, Todd, and
Okay.
if it is less, I can make that comment as well.
Okay.
That's all I got.
So what is our action on this? We have
Move approval with those recommendations or suggestions, I guess, to be included and forwarded to the county for their review.
There's a formal form that is sent back to the county with our comments.
I motion to accept the subdivision as presented with the comments that Adam presented.
Motion by Burkhardt, is there a second? Second. Second by Tao. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Item 2B, Wheeler Street vacation request. The applicant is requesting to vacate 24th Avenue North from West Grand Avenue to High Street, approximately the west 230 feet of High Street and a portion of West Grand Ave adjacent to 2310 West Grand Ave. Adam, do you want to go ahead and walk us through this? I know there was some inclusion in our packets as well. It's fairly straightforward, but you want to walk us through that?
For those of you who are not aware, Wheeler Chevrolet bought out the former auto dealership that was located at Ironside GMC, and they also purchased the former Hanks Auto property on the corner of 25th Avenue and West Grand. They are in the process, if you have not driven by there recently, Hanks is no more. It is quite shocking to drive by there, quite honestly, and I've only lived here for 5 or 6 years, so I can't imagine how it looks to lifelong residents. But they are in the process of putting together concept plans for the redevelopment of Hanks and the Ironside properties. The long-term goal is to have the Chevy dealership located on the corner, and then they would rebuild the Ironside GMC to be the Buick dealer, and then the Buick dealer would be relocated off of 8th Street where it currently resides. As a result, they're basically developing on either side of 24th Avenue North, and there is no long-term need for that right-of-way to continue to exist within the city. So it was suggested to Wheelers that if they would like to convert that into a private access point, that the city would be supportive of that, at least at the staff level. We would need to retain easements that run basically where 24th Avenue is currently, or at least a portion of that, because there are storm sewer, water, and sanitary sewer, I believe, running through there. But they can still put parking and display areas, they just wouldn't be able to build over it. So it allows their site to be more cohesive overall, in, I guess, my opinion and staff's opinion. So we did recommend that they petition for that vacation. So based on that, staff would recommend supporting their petition for the vacation of 24th Avenue. There is a small little notch out as well in West Grand, and from people who are more familiar with it, that basically there used to be a bridge structure there from when a small stream and creek went underneath West Grand Avenue, but with relocations and underground storm sewers, that no longer exists. So that little notch out isn't needed as right away either. So since we were looking at vacation, we thought we'd throw in that extra 40 square feet or something like that. It's relatively small. So we do recommend approval of the vacation. However, that would be subject to the creation of easement language for the utilities that run through it currently, and then those would be part of the CSM that will be eventually recorded for the property, so that the city will retain the rights to maintain our utilities.
That property is deeded over to them, for nothing, but then it goes on the tax roll, I assume.
Correct, yes, it would go on the tax roll. So there is not small benefit, we're not, I think it's less than an acre overall in property, so you're not talking about a lot, but it is still something.
Did us a couple of favors, so.
One less street to maintain,
Right.
or stub of the street, no value to the city. Yeah. I'm glad they were positively receptive. At first, it was a bit of a discussion, I think, with them to understand the benefits maybe to them and benefits to the city to not have it, so that's, I'm glad that it's got the stage. Commissioners, what are your wishes regarding that item?
Yeah.
Tom? Yeah.
Just a question, I'm in favor.
Sure.
Is the High Street part approximately what's the gravel part in back there?
It would actually extend beyond even what is gravel currently, so that if the
Part
city
of the
used,
blacktop even?
right,
Okay,
yeah, if they wanted to put a cul-de-sac on there, there would still be sufficient room for a cul-de-sac on that
Okay.
street.
it won't cut into where the houses are, that it'd still be, houses would be close to it though. To where- Or that one house might be close,
I don't believe so.
or not.
The houses are still beyond, if you look at the street vacation exhibit, the nearest house would be on parcel 01006. 01007 is actually owned by Wheelers as well.
It won't cut into where they can get into the house.
Correct, yeah, it won't affect them
Yeah,
at
it
all.
extends beyond that, right? Good question.
And Wheeler owns all the property in back of their,
Mhm.
up to the High Street part in that, right?
Yeah,
And
they
then
own
beyond.
both sides of High Street.
So I'm in favor, like you said.
Mhm. Yeah, they
Question.
own, up to the railroad beyond High Street on a couple of those parcels.
Okay,
Some of those areas.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the Wheelers street vacation request conditional upon the recording of utility easements for existing infrastructure.
Motion to approve by Terry, is there a second? Second by Burkhauser. Any further discussion on there? Seeing none, moving to vote, all in favor? Any opposed? The ayes have it. You must have cleaned that up. It's nice to clean up anyway, in many ways. No other maps or plats received.
There was one.
Oh, is it? Sorry, this is the one you put on our plates here. Okay, that's right, just clean up that so you know. So this would be,
Item C, I guess.
item C is another map or plat, is there anything else referencing it?
Extraterritorial, right?
Yeah.
Oak Creek properties.
Correct, this is another extraterritorial plat that was actually received, oh, sorry, Shane,
No.
I've got extra copies if you need it. This was received on Friday, we have technically 30 days to respond, so rather than waiting until the next plan commission meeting, I hope you're okay reviewing it. This is very straightforward, it's basically one large lot located on the southwest corner of 40th and Airport Avenue, and they're proposing to subdivide it into 4 lots, again, for residential development within the town of Grand Rapids. There were no concerns or suggestions at all from staff on the proposed CSM.
next one, all right.
So based on that, we would recommend that the plan commission support the CSM.
Commissioners, what are your wishes on that item?
If you have no questions on that one,
No, this one is very straightforward.
move that we approve it.
Motion to approve by Aaron, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Burkhart. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? The ayes have it. Item 3, public hearing on Plan 160836 Stratford sign. The applicant, on behalf of the owner, Wisconsin Rapids Public Schools, is requesting an amendment to the existing planned unit development to allow for a modification of their existing sign plan within the R2 one-family and two-family residential district. The subject property is located at 1801 16th Street South, parcel number 34111793. With that, I'll open the public hearing. Is anyone present wishing to speak in favor of the request?
Can I speak?
Ron, go ahead.
All right. This is a request for us to look at putting a digital sign at Lincoln High School. The current sign, I believe, was approved by the city back in 2001, that is currently on that corner. The school district was approached by Jackie Latch, the memorial for Dr. Latch's recent passing. as they were looking at some way to continue the memorial for Dr. Latch, and so they approached the school district about possibly putting a digital sign on that property. We're one of the few schools in our athletic conference that do not have a digital sign to advertise, and many times people drive by and don't even realize it is Lincoln. We have a very small signage on that expressway. There is one additional sign on that lot property, which is in front of the PAC, as it is one entire lot size, all the way from basically the football field up to the expressway. We, instead of adding an additional sign, we attempted to co-opt the digital sign in the existing signage, rather than, we originally had looked at having another sign on the property, but felt it best to pull the signage together, which is the designs that we worked with the Stratford sign, which you have in front of you. So we're asking for your blessing to continue to put the sign on the property. We do have to seek state approval also, which we'll be submitting tomorrow, hopefully.
So question, side 3, looks like it's adjacent, so you're incorporating the two will co-exist.
Incorporate, yeah, so the signs will basically be almost a 90-degree angle. So you have the existing Lincoln High School sign, which is kind of a tile sign with red lettering that says Lincoln High School. The other sign would rise behind it, about midway in the structure, to try to bring this two signs together. It's been very difficult to try to bring both sides aesthetically together, but felt it important to maintain that.
Okay, thank you. That's what I gathered, but it's sometimes hard to tell.
Yeah, so the one sign, the night depiction looks like it's at the end of that Lincoln High School sign, where actually it's like halfway down the sign. The side 3 is how it would look like, you know, if you're standing kind of in front of that from the expressway.
And is it gonna be more of this, because the side 3 shows kind of like a tall sign?
Yeah, that's why I'm confused.
Yeah, just give you that so you know any information, correct?
So this one shows it's kind of like a tall.
Yeah, so this kind of will go above, it goes kind of above this, because this is showing it kind of on the end here, and you'll see this is raised a little bit.
Yeah.
So it actually is pushed back to be in this area.
But it's not gonna be a tall, narrow sign?
It is exactly what the dimensions are that is listed here, so from the ground to the top, it is 136
Okay,
inches.
so it's more of a rectangle
Correct.
instead of.
Right, so the digital is actually on this side and this side.
Oh,
This
I
is the
got you.
letter, yeah,
I
that's
got
trying to bring it in, so the Raiders is kind of the side image, and then the digital is, and that's a weird intersection to begin with, because it is not a 90-degree,
Right, okay.
it is not a 90-degree intersection. I mean, across on the north side and the Bassett, I mean, there's the wooded fence there that kind of protects that subdivision. I mean, to the west is, assisted living, but there are woods right there. So it is an interesting dynamic to try to make view angles also work.
That's a good fit, though.
With our new ordinances that we're discussing, is the size a problem?
Well, the issue you run into is it's zoned residential. Obviously, residential sign requirements are very, very limited for a good reason. However, the use on this property is not residential, so there's not a good fit, really. If you looked at it as a commercially zoned property, for example, this would comply, and they wouldn't have to even go through this process except for the animated portion.
Okay.
So it's not, I wouldn't say it's oversized if you were to look at it that way under our current ordinance. It's just, that's why it's an amendment to the existing, basically approval that allowed Lincoln High School to be there for the PAC and all of that, because really none of those conform to a residential district currently. So it's a unique zoning district in a way.
During the summer, will the PAC use this?
Yeah, our intent is to use it, I believe, looking at the state guidelines, it has to be all from what I've looked at, correct me if I'm wrong, it has to be for events that are on that site. So yes, the PAC would be considered during the school year, it'll be used for PAC, during the summer it'll be used for PAC events. Anything that we're kind of hosting on our site will be utilized and advertised.
I believe there's an exception that community-wide events.
Yes,
nonprofit
yeah.
events. So
I think some of our intent is, Blossom Fest, we could, advertise up there. we don't wanna be advertising 1,000 things to take away from some of the school stuff, but there are important community events that we'll be willing to look at on putting up there, because it is a major intersection also, and it welcomes people to town as they come through.
So I'll make a motion to approve the amendment to the existing plan unit.
I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna go ahead and close the public
Oh, I'm
hearing real
sorry.
quick, then I asked the question, I got
I'm
off the
sorry.
wrong foot, so I apologize. That was my bad. All right, so we'll close the public hearing unless anyone else wishes to speak on the item. Okay, go ahead, Todd.
Wait, I got one thing, and it's, I don't know if I have to recuse myself. My family donated to the Latch Memorial. I don't see a direct benefit for myself from this if I vote in favor of it, but I wanted to bring it up as discussion here.
I think disclosing your connection is completely appropriate and wouldn't require you to recuse yourself necessarily. I think it was a correct, good point though. Thank you.
Okay.
I have a question too. Eventually, Highway 54 is gonna go behind the school. Right? Is then that sign gonna be in the wrong location, so to speak?
The main entrance of Lincoln will be on the, on 16th, so,
Okay.
I mean, all the traffic that will still occur there. I'm planning for that to happen also on all my future plans with that property, so,
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, we'd love to have a sign on the pack also, to more advertise on 16th. But this is where we have resource-wise right now also.
All right, any further questions? No further questions, I entertain a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the amendment to the existing planned unit development to allow for modification of an existing sign plan within the R2 district for Lincoln High School, for Stratford sign.
All right, a motion to approve, second by Tal. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing and seeing none, we'll move into a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
It'll be a nice addition. What's your timeline on installation? State review?
State review, so we're hoping for this fall, but it'll probably be early spring.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion, is there a second? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Stand adjourned. Thank you all for being here for this.
All right.